Hey guys, Nick here from Nick's Taxes, back with another video. Today marks the day in which you can apply for CRB, Canada Recovery Benefit, number 19. This is the final CRB period that you can apply for if you've been applying right from the beginning. As of right now, Canada allows you to apply up to 19 periods for the CRB, and so this would mark the final one if you've been applying every single week. If you haven't, you can still apply up to 19 periods, but this is period 19. So in today's video, we're going to talk a little bit more about who can qualify for the CRB, the period that is period 19, and what might happen next. So if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, and if you get value out of this video, please drop a like. Now, you may recognize I'm in a little different place than usual. I'm visiting Toronto, and I've incorporated in my last video a little talk about Toronto and the cost of living within the city. And those numbers may shock you as to how high they are. You might be familiar with how expensive it is as a city, but I kind of crunched the numbers real quick. So if that's of interest to you, go check out my previous video, and I'll have that linked here for you if you want to know about that. Let me know what other city you might want me to cover in terms of cost of living. But you came here because of the Canada Recovery Benefit, the $900 that you need for the last 2 weeks. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit more detail. So period 19 runs from June 6th to June 19th, 2021. That is period number 19. So as of right now, we're talking about a CRB extension. If you've been following along in the channel, we haven't had any update to the Canada Recovery Benefit website as of yet. We'll keep an eye on what happens very soon here, but as of right now, your eligibility periods end after 19 periods. So the CRB runs from September 27th, 2020 to September 25th, 2021. And so you can apply for 38 weeks, which is the same as 19 periods, but after you apply for that, you can no longer receive the CRB. So since this is period 19, if you've been applying since the CRB was introduced, this would be your last period, hoping that there's going to be an extension, but as of right now, this is the last period. Now, in order to be eligible for this $900, it's actually $1,000 before tax. They withhold 10% for you. The CRB is taxable in whole, so it's going to show up on your tax return and be taxed at your marginal rates. But to kind of help you out with the taxes, they do withhold 10%. Now, in previous videos, we've showed that 10% likely isn't going to be enough to cover your tax bill, so just be aware that you're probably going to be owing come tax time, depending on what other income and what other taxes you're paying throughout the calendar year. Now, in order to be eligible for the CRB, there's a list of criteria. I'll go through some of them, not all of them. But it's important to know that you need to meet these requirements for the entire eligibility period. So that's the entire 2-week eligibility period. The most important section is during the period that you're applying for, you were either not employed or self-employed for reasons related to COVID, or you had a 50% reduction in your average weekly income compared to the previous year due to COVID. So these are due to COVID. So if you decided to go back to school or take a mat leave or do something like that, that is not COVID related. That is a personal choice that you're doing that is not affected really by COVID. This is for people that are working in the working class and now can no longer work because of COVID related reasons, whether that's government shutdowns, whether that's not getting enough hours because they're not getting enough business. Those kind of things are COVID-related reasons. Now, if you're asking, Nick, what's this 50% reduction in average weekly income? Well, there's gonna be more information available to you on the Canada website, which I will have linked in the description, so you can go check out how that's calculated, and you can do that by looking at your previous tax returns. Also, it's important to note that during the period, you could not have received any other COVID-related benefits, such as the sickness benefit, the caregiving benefit. You can also not receive disability or be on EI during this period, okay? So if you're on EI, you can't also get the CRB. It doesn't work that way. The other one that's very important is The CRB is for those who are not eligible for EI, which is employment insurance. So there's also a link there that tells you if you are eligible for employment insurance or not, and I encourage you to check that out before you make any sort of application, because if you do qualify for EI, you need to go on EI rather than the Canada Recovery Benefit. The other section I want to highlight about this is you need to be present in Canada and in either 2019, 2020, or in the 12 months before the date you apply for any of the CRBs. You need to have earned at least $5,000 of income from either employment income or net self-employment income. Or you might have been on maternity or parental leave receiving those benefits, or EI or some sort of similar QPIP payments. That needs to have amassed at least $5,000 during any of those periods. So it's either 19, 20, or in the 12 months before your application. So basically you need to have been making some sort of money related to working in the workforce in our economy to qualify for this benefit. This is a working person's benefit. Now there's many other eligibility criteria and you'll have to check that out on the Canada website, but those are the ones I wanted to highlight because those are the ones that I still get a lot of questions on. Okay, so I mentioned that this was period 19, which might be the last period for some of you guys to apply for because you've exhausted now the CRB. Well, Canada has proposed an extra 12-week extension, and so the next period, if that goes through, would be period 20, which is June 20th to July 3rd. So that means that if you're applying for period 20, you'd be applying for it on July 5th. So Canada basically has between now and July 5th to get that extension passed and through and available now for Canadians. So there is a little bit of time there for Canadians, or for the Canadian government, to get their act together. So we'll kind of hold on to see what happens very soon. If this 12-week extension does happen, the first 4 weeks will continue as usual. You'll apply the same way, the criteria should remain the same, and most importantly, the dollar amount will stay the same. But after this period, this extra 4 weeks, starting July 17th of 2021, that represents the 5th week of the new CRB extension. The CRA and the government is planning to cut the Canada Recovery Benefit amount to $300 per week. So it's going to represent $200 cut to how much they're going to be doling out per week. And that's because they're hoping that people are going back to work and using that as an incentive to get back out into the workforce as soon as possible to get our economy churning again. What that means, if you're doing a little bit of quick math, $300 per week for 2 weeks, that's $600. But with a 10% withholding, you'd end up with a $540 amount deposited into your account if you're applying for those benefits later on in July and going forward through September. The government has also thought about maybe having the possibility of extending all the way into November, but we'll look at that at a later time if applicable. As of right now, the CRB is good from September 2020 to September 2021. So that is today's video. Let me know in the comments below what you think is going to happen with this extension. Are we going to see one, or is it going to get canceled? Right now, the CRB, they are pushing to keep it at $500 per week instead of the cut. Let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. But if you needed the money, hopefully this amount here for period 19 will help you get by. I appreciate you guys and all your support, and I hope all of you guys are doing well and surviving through this difficult time. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you have any suggestions for things to cover in the future, let me know in the comments below, and I will see what I can do regarding making content on those. Anyway, I'm Nick from Nick's Taxes. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.